The causation and effects from slavery is a question that will forever be asked. Slavery. Webster's definition defines slaves as a person who is the legal property of another and is forced to obey them. Slavery began at the creation of the world and can be traced back into the Bible days. The Old Testament and the New Testament reveals that slavery was a very common part of life and that the function of a slave and a pathway of freedom was imminent. Many abolitionists refer to the Bible to support their cause. Slavery has always existed in some form of humankind. Unfortunately, the most documented act of the degradation of a society or group is best known as the African slave trade. Slavery, of a classical definition, dates back into the early 1400s. The New World slaves were seen as a prime commodity. Slaves considered not even human were bartered and traded for like sugar and meal. Slavery and all of its processes became a normal part of the economy and relied heavily on a productivity to fund the best physical skilled labor that could be found. For the love of money, greed, and social status, the attempt of a genocide to a country was initiated. From the motherland where life first existed to slave ships to freedom again. All history from my ancestors, I still hear their cries. In his book, The Slave Ship by Marcus Rediker, the author calls these ships floating prisons, with the slaves hearing the inmates and the crew being the guards. From one of the most beautiful places on earth, Africa, to being shackled and chained together like wild animals and tossed on a ship to a foreign land. It was absolutely devastating. The effects were a generational form of mental distress, physical diseases, to an economic setback, to the assumption of racism, to prejudice, and to slave codes that still exist today in this world and in this country and in this United States of America.